What's up, brother? I'm glad you're here, man. Glad we
Thank
finally
you very
connected.
much for having me. Sorry, I was doing the most British thing in the world beforehand, having a cup of tea with my friend's parents. So I'm a few minutes late, but I'm here.
Well, it's funny because I was just in London 2 months ago, and it was my first time, and I met a bunch of guys I know over there. I think you know a couple of them, like Jamie Alderton, some other folks, and they were making fun of my how un-British I am, and
Yeah.
the tea and crumpets.
It's such a stereotype. It's only when we leave England that we realise how British we are. But yeah, Jamie's a good guy. What do you think of the UK when you were here?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It reminded me a lot of like Boston, and which of course, stems from a lot of European descent. So of course it should remind me, but New York as well. It was actually a lot smaller, I guess, kind of like cramped than I anticipated. The roundabouts and the traffic and everything. It took me literally, so I got a hotel about 5 miles from where I was supposed to meet some friends the first night I was there. And I thought 5 miles should take me, 15 minutes. It took me like an hour. I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
holy shit.
When we come to America, we're like, oh my God, the roads are so big, your trucks are so big. Like to us, it's the opposite. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was amazing. Actually, the one thing that I took away from London was the food quality. I don't know if I'm sure you've been to the States a few times, but the food quality over there was so much, at least it maybe didn't taste like it was that much better. But the one thing I really realized after eating was the next day, I felt amazing. Like I never felt like I'm not a great dairy guy. I can't eat a lot of sweets and things like that. But over there, it was my birthday, so I was celebrating. I was eating whatever, and I had ice cream one night. I woke up the next day and felt like $1,000,000, man. I felt amazing.
Could be in the dosage. I mean, again, when we come to the
Sure,
States, and how big the portions you guys have over there. I went to New York. I couldn't believe even the same chains that you have in the UK are just so much bigger.
it's
Um,
insane, man.
but yeah, I feel the same way about Australia. I'm a big fan of the food over there. So have you been to Oz?
No, I've never been down under, man, ever.
Uh, it- the step beyond is the food quality in Australia. It's way better, and the coffee.
Wow. Wonder
Yeah.
why that is. Is it just because of the local sourced, or like what is the reason?
Think about it, maybe a bit of culture as well. Like you go to Australia, you will come back a coffee snob. Even at
Mm,
a nice place in Europe, you'll be like, "You call this coffee?"
I'm gonna
Uh,
dump out my Starbucks. Hold on a second.
I go to Starbucks now. It's only just a good place to have Wi-Fi and a good table at a good height. What
Couldn't
they
agree
serve
more.
is coffee. I mean, the size of the large Starbucks coffees. If something needs to be that big to wake me up, then I'm blaming
Mm.
Starbucks, not the fact that I need that much caffeine to function.
So, are you in Australia now? Where are you? Are you in London or?
I'm in London at the moment because I've got a lot of stuff going on with the book tour in a few weeks.
Mm.
We've got some kind of PR stuff leading up to that. So it's good to be kind of on the ground, although middle of bloody winter, so it's a bit shit. But very unfortunately, the majority of Australia is on fire right now.
I saw
Uh,
that. Yeah.
the bushfires are crazy. So, although it's literally my favorite place in the world, part of me is kind of grateful that I'm not there at the moment while it's all going on. I mean, people are, they're losing their homes and stuff over it. It's really
Mm.
crazy. It's really bad.
Yeah, I had a few people I was supposed to speak with over the past couple of weeks from Australia for different reasons, but a couple of them couldn't even make the call because they were trying to relocate and out of harm's way, I guess, right from the spread of this fire. I didn't realize it was that serious until I started doing my research, and I realized that there are people literally like stranded on a beach hoping that the fire doesn't encircle them and stuff, right?
I think it's already three times bigger than the Californian fires.
Jesus Christ, how did that happen? Do you know? I mean,
So it's going to be tied in with climate change. I mean, Australia's just had the hottest and driest October in history. I mean, it was ridiculously hot. And the year before when I was there, I was wearing a hoodie. And then you think about cigarette butt in one place, arson in another, and now all these bushfires. I think there was like 80 going on at the same time. And now they're starting to meet in very windy conditions. I'm no geologist, but I think that if you've got a lot of fire and heat somewhere, as that heat rises, you're going to draw in winds from outside, and it's just going to get worse and worse. So I think it's a mixture of a lot of things, but it's something that every kind of park you go to in Australia, they're like, oh yeah, there's going to be a risk of bushfire, like high risk, low risk. And I don't think the government have really done as much as they could have to support it. So it's not a case of putting them out anymore. It's a case of letting it run its toll and just burn out. And I think they're just going to try and save as many homes as they can.
That's unbelievable, man. So I guess you're pausing your your trip back to Australia until things die down.
I've got to go back on the 1st of February. They reckon tomorrow, the 4th of January, is going to be probably the worst day so far. So I'm just hoping as much can be done as possible. I mean, I donated to a few charities, but with something that size, it's going to be very difficult. So I think there's definitely going to be a very bittersweet kind of process when I do arrive back in Australia. I think that even now in New Zealand, people in New Zealand are complaining about the fire, about the smoke.
Jesus Christ. It's absolutely horrible, man. I mean, I have, we actually, so I don't know if you know, well, Jason Momoa is an actor, but he did a lot of work down in Australia for Aquaman, and I guess they're getting ready to film the sequel. So I have friends that are supposed to be relocating there to film who work with him and do things on set and whatnot. And they're saying they're holding that up too because of this, which is crazy, man.
The sky, it's like, it's not cloudy. The sky is just covered in smoke. So the sun looks red in the middle of the day.
Yeah, I was going to say the pictures look like, it's like the endless summer picture, right? Yeah. Where it's like red and yellow and everything. It's like, it's crazy, man. It's hard to believe. I mean, absurd. So you had a pretty intense 2019. I mean, I must say your social media, I'm a huge fan.
Thank you.
Also your emails are hilarious. I actually, I had some time to kill while we were getting ready, and I read your latest one, and I'm just over here dying laughing. I'm a massive fan, man. It's hilarious. Been meaning to connect with you for a while, but I know 2019. It seemed like you had tremendous growth, man. How was your year overall? Like, what was it like?
Yeah, pretty hectic. I mean, growth on social media definitely is something where it's something I always aim for, but I don't let it ever become a metric for success, because I know plenty of people with bigger followings than me that still promote protein on a supplement stall at fitness expos. Not that that's a bad thing, but it goes to show that some people chase the following and they don't really get the life that you would expect from it. And just a lot of opportunities. And I mean, it's very easy to connect the dots from the outside, but some of the best opportunities came from doing little events like the TED Talk. For me, was massive. I mean,
yeah, I saw that.
There are some idiots that get given TED Talks, and I've watched some of them. But just to have that is kind of cool. And that stemmed, I believe, from doing a very small talk at university. And really this year, it wasn't about doing big things. It was about doing small things. And I think that all the big things that have happened have occurred from doing the small things. So, like calling it the 1%, and doing those little things here and there have really brought about quite a lot. And I mean, from launching the app, doing some very good talks, building socials, and then writing a book as well, which was a very interesting process. I didn't find it too difficult. So
I want to hear about that. I wrote a book a couple years ago, and for me, I've always been a writer, so I really enjoyed writing, and that part was easy. But the whole putting the book together, right, like organizing it and making sure it was like that part was a lot more tedious than I anticipated. How was it for you? Because you said it's easier than you thought.
So luckily for me, I had a fantastic editor called Lydia, who is at HarperCollins, and I was just throwing her text, content, anecdotes, topics, and then she was on the bombardment of categorizing it and then sending it back and being like, okay. And it was amazing to have another set of eyes on it, where someone goes, this makes sense to you, it makes sense to me, but it's not going to make sense to Linda from Norwich. So I'd go away and I'd be like, shit, I've just written 3,000 more words, which should have been there in the first place. Then it was good for them to say, you've repeated yourself here, you don't need to do this, we need a bit more of this. And then for me, they would just crack the whip, and whatever topics they wanted, I'd just go out and I'd write it all. And then seeing it come together was amazing. And there was a few times where they're like, okay, we're going to move this bit, we're going to do this. But for me, like I could have carried on writing. I was doing about 5,000 words a day at one point.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And I was enjoying the process. And it was one of those things like with email marketing, you can sometimes write an email that only really picks up traction halfway through. And then you keep going with it and you go to the beginning and delete the first part because it didn't really make any sense.
Right.
So we did a lot of that. And then I came back and I rewrote the beginning of the book. And yeah, at the end of it didn't feel real until I recorded the audiobook. So when I was writing, I was saying to people, I was like, oh, I can't be happy till it's finished. And then when it's finished, I was like, I can't be happy till I've recorded the audiobook. Then since recording that, now I've just got the anxiety of the release day and everything like that. So maybe I won't be able to be happy until it's all blown over. Uh, yeah, it's been a
Don't
bit of
worry, soon you'll be just getting requests to write a second book, and you'll be like, damn, like
might just bunch together all my emails, and that can be book two, like
I was gonna say, yeah. might
memoirs of an email.
might have to have a mature rating on some of them, but
Yeah,
I think today was a double dildo slapping one, which
yeah. Personal anecdote. There you go again.
yeah.
I was trying to recreate in this email today about like something that could hit you in the face, and I remember at a rugby tournament in the UK, maybe 5-6 years ago, someone had a double-ended dildo and just whacked me with it, and it hurt. I was like, cool, that's carrying some.
It's got some weight.
Yeah. So I was like, that's going in. And I was like, do you know what? Some people might not get the anecdote, but that's cool.
No, it was hilarious. So the book, what is the book about actually? Because I know it's called Not Another Diet Book, right?
Yeah. So Not a Diet Book was to me about, there's enough diet books out there. And they're like, bunching recipes and workouts together, which is fine if that's what the audience needs. But I'm a big believer that people don't overeat because they're gluttonous or, because they want to be obese. And I feel that we need to draw the line back a bit. I'm sure you've experienced this when you train people, you're not just talking about food and exercise. You're like, how's your relationship? How's your job? And then people go, oh, my job's killing me at the moment. I'm not getting on with my partner. We're just living in the same house. And suddenly you start to identify all these kind of cues as to you shouldn't be in that relationship. You need to change jobs. And even for me, not that I'm a relationship expert or an expert in the field of professional life, but in my own life, I've made decisions like moving back in with my parents when I was 26 was amazing. Literally drawing the line with relationships and identifying in professional life where I was happy and where I wasn't. And the fitness thing all just came together off the back of that. And I wanted to share those experiences where they do get the education about how all diets work the same way, what bullshit's out there and what the kind of underlying factors are. But at the same time, there's a part in the book where I have a part about whether or not they should be in their relationship. And if someone survives that chapter and still has a partner at the end of it, they should be in a relationship. And then at the end of it, I'm like, hey, before you're worried about going dating, let me tell you about the time that I used to knock on doors for a living. And when I talk about that, I was like, look, you knock on enough doors, you make a sale. You make enough sales based on how many doors you knock on. And I was like, there's no escaping that. So then it kind of bolsters the whole being single, scared of moving on with a personal anecdote of me knocking on doors. And suddenly people are like, oh, do you know what? This isn't as daunting as I feel. So the book's all about that. It's got probably, imagine what you get someone to read it and they can walk through any American gym, Australian gym, British gym. And no matter what personal trainers say to them, they're like, well, that's not true, is it? Oh, autophagy. Well, I actually know about autophagy. I read about it in the book. I don't think I should be losing sleep about it. Someone else says, you should try this fasting protocol. They're like, that's just one way to create a deficit. So it's kind of like giving people this knowledge so that no matter from what background they are, they understand. Then they're going to say to their friends, look, you can eat breakfast tomorrow on Saturday. It's not going to harm your fat loss. Maybe just get your step count above 15,000 steps. Don't worry about it. And then they'll start saying to people, well, James says in his book, you're only in your relationship based on the amount of time you've already been in the relationship. And then there's going to be like a lot of kind of brain farts occurring everywhere.
I love that, man. I think it's so important. And it's one of the reasons why I'm a fan of yours. But, talking about fitness, of course, you talk about fitness related topics on a frequent basis, right? You talk about calories, you talk about female training versus male training, a lot of different things that are important. But the most important thing that you talk about is the mental side, right? The side of like, hey, is it even a good time to start a diet, right? Am I even ready to jump into transforming my body? Because, man, I'm unhappy as shit at home. I hate my job. My dog shits on the floor every day. Like, I can't even get my own shit together. Why would I create more stress in my life by trying to follow some fad or some stupid workout plan that somebody does? It's like if everybody took that approach, they would start to build a much stronger foundation that they can then build their fitness house on.
I've said this. I said it yesterday on a video where someone was like, I've just had a kid, just had a baby. I'm struggling with what exercise I should be doing at home. I was like, look, maybe for that first year that you've got a kid, just go for a walk every day. a 45-minute, 1 hour walk. Are you going to get a banging set of glutes from it? Probably not, but it's something you can do every day. It can become a habit. You can listen to an audiobook that distracts you from your baby that's crying all the time. Go out, do that, and then we'll build on that. Because when your baby's 1, it might have a sleep cycle that you can work around. And then your husband might be like more proficient at changing diapers or whatever it is. And like there will come a point where you set that, and 6 months in, they're like, I want to train once a week. You're like, cool, let's do it. And, instead of saying to someone, oh, well, doing Tabata is actually the best thing for you. Well, no, because this person's just had a kid. They're knackered. They're being woken up at 7 intervals a night. Tabata is not the solution.
Yeah, the rest period, they're going to fall asleep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or they're going to burn themselves out in the first week and then end up doing nothing. So, yeah, I'm definitely like a realist where, hey, look, you've sent me a picture of Kim Kardashian. You are fucking dreaming. 1, send me a picture of someone better. 2, you've just had a fucking child. 3, let's set some proper goals. Can you go for a walk? And people are like, oh, my knees hurt from jumping lunges. Or maybe don't do fucking jumping lunges. People are like, oh, that's good advice. Oh, but I want to lose weight. We'll implement a deficit and go for a walk. Will that work? Yes. And we'll build on top of it when you can. It's crazy that some people lack that kind of pragmatism.
Well, common sense isn't common, right? And it's unfortunate. And it's one of those like mysteries to me even still sometimes, because I think, how do we get so far off the path of just basic common sense, especially with fitness and health? It's such a simple thing, right? It can be a simple thing. However, it's become such a difficult thing, right? For so many people. I know it's a lot of information overload. It's a lot of marketing. It's a lot of noise, blah, 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 blah. But it's become almost impossible for people to think for themselves, man. Like why is that, do you think?
I think people are just very easily influenced. I think that this has happened. This isn't something new as well, like with religions, right? Pagans, then people come along, they're like, actually, this, and people suddenly devote their whole life to it. And then, with nutrition, dieting, things like that, everyone's become into their own religions of, veganism, fasting, all of these kind of things. And people are so strong about their beliefs. It's become a competition to see how many people you can convert.
Yeah.
Similar to how it was with religions. Like, everyone wanted them to be on side. Let's make a cult. And then I think just how easy it is to impression. Well, look at Netflix, for instance. The sugar film made everyone anti-sugar. Game Changers made everyone pro-vegan. Whichever way you look, you're 2 hours away from brainwashing someone into something. I mean, look at the amount of flat earthers we have. There are people disputing the fucking shape of the earth. And then you get them, you're like, look at the moon. Yeah. What shape is that? It's round. Why would the earth be any different? No.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. What
Slow
shape
down, man.
is the sun? It's round. Okay. Right. So telescope. Let's look at all these different things that are round.
Sure.
And think we're flat. So I think humans are just fucking idiots that crave to belong to something. And I think the stupid fucking faddy trends are something that still, people love it.
Yeah, it's like that car crash or train crash. There's an analogy. It's like people can't look away from chaos, and it's almost like they subconsciously almost crave that like, I'm gonna try this, and I kind of subconsciously know this isn't gonna work, right? But it just sounds like an experience and something exciting that maybe there's a 2% chance. It's like the movie Dumb and Dumber, right? Where he's like 1 in a million. 1 in 10 million, like, and she's like, no, never, she's like more like 1 in 100 million. He's like, oh, so you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah, 100%.
It's like,
I completely agree with you on that. That's exactly what it's like. And again, when people look at other people's success, they're like, oh, I must have got lucky. Or, when you build a following, someone's like, what was your viral video? You're like, what do you mean fucking viral video? This is 5 years of hard work, you cheeky bastard. And like you say, people see people in shape. They're like, oh, what soup have you been drinking? Or, what supplements do you take? You're like, bro.
What whey protein do you take?
Yeah. And you're like, mate, I've been training 10 years. Like, oh, no. It couldn't have been the 10 years. He's got better genetics than me, or whatever it is. So, people just get pretty sidetracked. And I think humans crave that by nature.
I see that a lot with now with social media, right? So I have people reach out to me and talk about, hey, how did you grow your following? Or how do you think so-and-so grew their following? Do you think they just hit a viral video, or did they, have the right connections and somehow beat the algorithm or something like that? And I say, honestly, most of the successful people I know online, like our friend Jay Alderton, right? They work tirelessly for a very long period of time, like decades, you know what I mean? And they failed so many fucking times. And I tell people all the time, like, I used to be 80 pounds overweight. I didn't have this thing figured out from birth, man. Like, this thing wasn't handed to me in like like my father handed me like my rite of passage. Like, here you go. Here's your book on calories. Like, that never happened.
It's exactly that. And interesting enough, I think why there's quite a bit of excitement about the app TikTok at the moment.
Oh yeah, I'm addicted, man.
It's bad, but
it's crazy. My shits have taken like 2 hours now because I'm on TikTok.
I can't feel my feet. But like, someone can post their first video and get 1 million views. Never has this happened before.
Yep.
Now people are thinking, hold on, this isn't going to take years. In a few weeks, I could become famous. And I think that's the excitement that people want with everything in life, where they think they can, work around it. But it's unfortunately not the way.
I know. I tell people all the time, there are a lot of things you can speed up. Like TikTok, I went from 0 to like almost 8,000 followers in like 3 weeks, right? Like, big fucking deal, right? Luckily, I'm experienced enough to know that this is, by the time it really calms down, you probably need like 2 million followers to be considered in the top 5%, right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, there are certain things in life that you honestly really can't speed up. Yeah. I think relationships are probably one of them, right? Building really strong relationships. Becoming a parent for the first time, you're not going to be an expert no matter how many fucking books you read, man. It's just not possible. And getting in shape, that's one too. You really can't speed it up. There's only so much you can do scientifically to get into better shape and to keep that.
I think one of my biggest qualms is where people set the finish point as well. Where people are like, okay, I'm here, I want to be here. And a lot of the time you're like, you don't really want to be here. Because the dude on Men's Health, he's not even that fucking happy. He's paranoid, obsessed, insecure. He's worried that if he eats a fucking donut that he's going to lose his sponsorship deals. What people want to be is here. And suddenly when you say to them, you're like, here, mate, you're probably not going to have any abs, but you're going to have a good fucking social life. You can deadlift twice your body weight. So I think a lot of the battle as well is people learning they don't need to get here, because people feel they're disheartened. It's because their journey is short. They think it's longer than it really is.
Absolutely. And that brings up a good point. So we're at the beginning of the new year, right? And as is every fitness professional, I feel like on earth right now, we're getting hit with a lot of, people who are motivated, at least a little bit more motivated to make a change. It's also the start of a new decade. So it feels a little bit more powerful than your standard run-of-the-mill new year, right? As somebody who preaches some incredibly quality advice like yourself, how would you help somebody who says, hey, man, I want to make this year the fucking year that I finally get myself together, I finally get in shape, and I can go into 2021 feeling really confident with myself, right? What are some of the things you recommend as a starting point for people? Because, people ask all the time, like, where do I start? What do I do? What are some of how should I approach this time so that I don't fuck up in 3 weeks?
I think, not ever, I don't even really like it when people have a set end goal. Just identify micro targets. So this is what I do on a daily basis. So say to them, your target is your first kilogram of fat loss, or your first tangible progression in the gym, whether it's one more chin up or more weight or whatever. And then maybe address the first chapter that you're going to read in a new book that you haven't read. Then start planning your time towards that. Whether that chapter takes 2 days, a week, 2 weeks, whether that chin-ups takes a day, 5 days, 3 weeks, wherever that first kilogram of loss, whatever happens, I feel that people just need to have a very blinkered approach. Just do that. And then they come back, they go, I haven't hit it. No, you haven't hit it yet. Go back to work. Oh, I still haven't hit it yet. Cool. Well, let's maybe look at addressing this or addressing this. And let's maybe look at time management. And I think that one of my keys to kind of success is always being blinkered, looking at the next thing. That next thing is only going to take a certain period of time. Nothing else is really important apart from that. Oh, hey man, can you do 10 chin-ups? I'm on my way. And I think that as James Clear says in Atomic Habits, people just need to be far more concerned with their trajectory than their current position.
I
And if
love
you
that.
have a trajectory that you're aiming towards, that shouldn't be kind of quantified into the calendar year. So, hey, mate, whatever's happened, put it behind you. Give me a goal, give me several goals to start working towards them. By next December, these goals are probably going to slow down, plateau, move backwards a bit, but that doesn't change the direction you're moving in, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think too, because self-belief, right, is really ultimately one of the biggest fuel sources when it comes to reaching your goals. And if you have this big, I want to lose 30 pounds or whatever that is in kilos, right? Uh, that seems a little bit far off. And it also, it's like, someone told me, hey, you're going to fly to the moon. And I've never even been in an airplane. Like, I'm like, oh, it's never going to fucking happen. Even if it's subconsciously, I might be motivated. It's the new year. And yeah, okay, I can do it. And rah, rah, or whatever. As soon as the work starts to kick in and I lost half a pound in 3 weeks, I go, man, I don't know if this is ever going to work. But if my goal is to lose half a pound, well, all of a sudden I have the belief that I can do it.
100%. People are so fixated and going, oh, I got 20 pounds to lose. You're like, well, you don't. You have one to lose. And then what? Well, one more. And these micro goals are much more manageable. I remember saving money when I was younger. I think I was trying to save up like £100. It's like $100.
Yeah.
Then I put it away. Then it was the next £100. I put it away. And it was only ever about those little, well, for me when I was younger, it was a lot of money, but still it made it so much easier to manage. If I tried to save 1,000 or 2,000 or 10,000 to buy a car or whatever, suddenly you don't get any gratification. I think now is a time more than ever that we are obsessed with instant gratification.
Yeah. Instagram, I mean, it's right there.
Instagram, bang, like refresh. Amazon Prime tomorrow. Netflix.
Right now, yeah.
Fuck me, Netflix. I told you 10 seconds ago I wanted to watch a 2-hour movie. Why haven't you loaded yet? Deliveroo. What do you mean 10 minutes? I've just ordered it. But like, you'd queue in line for 10 minutes at a fish and chip shop back in the day.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, so, no, I mean, I found myself, it's funny, I got pissed the other day because there was a streaming service that we found that streams movies in theaters illegally. So if anybody's listening to this, I'm hopefully not going to get caught, but stream movies that are out, right? That I have 2 kids. I don't have time to go to the movie theater, right? And here I am, I scroll through the list of movies, and there's one movie that they didn't have that I wanted to see, right? That just, I guess, just came out. And I found myself getting irritated. Like, how fucking dare they not have this shit?
Yeah.
Right? But it's only been out for a day.
Yeah.
Like, I shouldn't even be watching it anyway. But here I am getting worked up about it. And my wife's like, what do you mean? There's 20 other movies out that we could watch. And I'm
That's
like,
not the one I want to watch.
Right.
Yeah.
What service is this? Meanwhile, it's free.
Yeah. Humans are pretty fucked at the moment, I think. And, before what my dad said something to me where he goes, in his day, if something was broke, you fixed it. In this day, if something's broke, you want a new one. And
shit.
people now are just like they can do that with anything in their life. I mean, before the internet, I'm sure it'd be very difficult to go dating and find someone. Now, all you need is Hinge or Tinder or Bumble, and you're 2 hours of swiping away from going for a drink with a stranger. So, everything's so instant now that it makes things a lot more kind of accessible. So yeah, I think human nature is changing faster than the way we're programmed.
Speaking of your dad, how do you, or what do you credit? Because you have pretty good common sense, like a pretty level head. You're younger than me, I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but you're not the typical, what do they call millennial, right? At least that's the stereotype. I don't know. I've met a lot of millennials who are not the typical millennial, who are awesome people, right? Fucking love them. But now that phrase has started to describe like a lazy kind of like entitled, everything should be quick and easy. What do you credit your common sense and work ethic to? Because obviously you have both.
Probably mild man. So my dad, that's what we call him in the UK.
Nice.
He commuted an hour to work on the train and back every day for 50 years to the same company, which is, pretty decent. And just little things where like he's never wanted more than what he has, which I think why he's a very happy man. And to him, the most important thing is maybe getting the check when you buy dinner. And that's it, really. So from him, I understood that he's done a lot more than I have, the way I see it. He had to sit on a fucking train. They didn't have phones for most of that. So he had to read a paper, standing on a train in rush hour, going into London, not living in London. And then I was like, oh, fuck, that's how you make it to the top. And yeah, my upbringing isn't. I've never had a tough time growing up, but I've never been entitled. When I was this in the book actually, when I was 21, I was like, "Oh, Dad, I'm not employed. Kind of need a little bit of help." He was like, "Oh, good, go to the job centre." I was like, "What do you mean?"
Hmm.
He was like, "You can go on the dole. You can go on benefits." And I was like, "Surely not." I was like, "We live in a 4-bedroom house in Berkshire." And he's like, "Yeah, go on the dole, go sign on to benefits." So I went to the job centre at 21, and I was thinking, oh God, I never went to private school or anything for anyone thinking that I'm rich or anything.
Yeah.
But it was just that they never really were like, we're not going to give you handouts. You can go get a job. And I started knocking on doors, as I said before. So I think it was good in that sense where they never would have let me feel entitled. And yeah, everyone that does well works hard. There's no way about that. And I think that some people in this day and age just make it look like they don't work hard.
Absolutely.
Logan Paul,
Oh man, he works his ass off though. I know him.
hustler,
Yeah.
absolute hustler.
And I know his brother too. They both work tirelessly.
And people from the outside go, fuck, these guys have a few viral vines or a few viral YouTubes. Like, no,
Sure.
these guys are fucking going at it. They had the audacity to pay people to film them. Content.
Yeah, they just had like 1 million pay-per-views or something for his boxing match.
Crazy.
I mean, who does that besides maybe Floyd Mayweather?
Yeah,
Like, come on, man.
it's actually mad that like if you put out good content, you can make other millennials happy through it. You can do whatever. And I think it's kind of a very magical time to live in. I think Gary Vaynerchuk is very big onto that, where he's like, this has never been a time before where, and this is the thing, I suppose, the millennial thing is that in an age where anyone, that Charlie girl from TikTok's got 15 million followers, she's 15.
Yeah.
A 15-year-old can make themselves world famous, but a lot of people are using this as an opportunity to do nothing. So I think there's a big pool of consumers and a big pool of creators. Another reason why I kind of like TikTok is that consumers can become creators in a very easy way. And you don't need to be big, athletic. You just need to be able to
express yourself
and jump on them.
Yeah, trends. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's one of those. I learned from an early age playing sports that sometimes success can be one of the biggest hurdles for a lot of people. Reason being, same with fitness, right? So you start to lose weight and you drop, 5-10 pounds, and you start to say, I can do whatever I want now. I've made it. This is easy, right? It starts to feel easier, and you start to forget about some of the things that took you there. Just like I tell people all the time who ask me, hey, how did you start a podcast and how did you get bigger names on your show? And I said, listen, the names you're seeing today are because of the work I did a year ago, right? It's the work I did 2 years ago. It's the work I did 3 years before that. It's not because I just hit up James Smith and said, hey, man, which, by the way, I kind of did. I just said, hey, come on my show. But I wouldn't be able to say that unless I had the confidence to get someone on my show that because of the work I've done. Same with all these social media platforms that are blowing up. It's easy, though, for a lot of people to get success a little bit, right? And think, it's it. The work's done, man. I'm good. I got 10,000 followers in a week. See ya. I'm going to go retire. That's one of the things that we can fall victim to pretty quick.
A good thing is that I think that when creators see each other with big social media followings, we don't give a fuck about the followings. We just see an equal pairing of hard work.
Yeah.
And it's funny you say that. Another chapter in the book is about metabolic adaptation, which a lot of people confuse as starvation mode. But I say to people, before I talk to you about metabolic adaptation, why don't we uncover the fact that your ego has probably intervened here? To the fact that you think you're good at dieting now. You think you're good at dieting. You think you're good at training. You think you warrant a fucking morning off here and there. You think you warrant to have a takeout and you can burn it off. And it's actually people's attitudes that misalign. And have you ever read any of Ryan Holiday's stuff?
Oh, absolutely. The ego's the enemy? Yeah.
The ego is the enemy. If you start to believe the story you tell yourself about your success, it's the beginning of the undoing of what you've created. So
believe your own hype.
Yeah, so I completely agree with you on that.
Yeah, it's an incredible thing. So the state of the fitness industry right now, I mean, we still got a bunch of nonsense out there. And I don't know if we'll ever completely get rid of all the bullshit. There's always going to be something new popping up, like carnivore diets, kind of the newest thing that I've seen. Veganism is now exploded. None of those, I guess, at the base of those ideas or philosophies are necessarily bad if used appropriately. The problem is, I feel like we're taking a solution that probably applies to maybe less than 1% of people and trying to make it a 100% solution, right? What do you feel like is the state today for the fitness industry as a whole, for the consumer, right? Going into the industry and saying, who do I trust? What do I do? Like, how do I figure out who to follow, who to take, the advice from and whatnot?
I think everyone's agendas have been, not everyone, a large percentage of smart-minded people have taken the agenda away from getting people in better shape or healthier, or both. Now, veganism is a fantastic cause, and the people that do it from an ethical standpoint, that's great, but it's one of those things where people should be making their mind up themselves through personal experience. Same way that if someone wants to, convert to Islam or, become a Muslim or whatever it is, like Sonny Bill Williams, fantastic New Zealand rugby player. Like they should go on a journey down themselves and discover what they want to do. And veganism, I think a lot of people, personality traits, animal lovers, whatever, great. But what you've seen now is some smart people clock on. They go, let's buy shares in vegan supplements. Let's open vegan restaurants. Then let's put out propaganda which benefits your agenda, whether it's supplements, restaurants, or whatever. You put out propaganda saying to men, you're not going to get an erection if you eat meat. You're going to get more footfall coming through your online stores, everything.
Absolutely.
And we become very distracted from the main thing we're really looking to do, which was to get people healthier. And the same with a lot of fitness trends and things like that. Everyone just wants a flash in the pan to make the money and leave. And it's so easy to see that from the outset. I mean, some people in the UK industry who had such a grip on the fitness industry at some point, they make a lot of money. And on their way out, it honestly seems like they're not even bothered. They're not even clawing to remain or stay in the marketplace because they've made their money. So they transition into other things, selling other stupid stuff. I mean, we got one in the UK that sells pots and pans. And you're like, is this your last ditch attempt at fucking making money?
I think I know who that is.
Came on the scene as a boot camp PT.
Yeah.
You're now apparently
made a shit ton of money too. I know who exactly you're talking about, but yeah.
Now suddenly you're an expert in baby nutrition.
Because he had a baby, right?
Pans. Yeah.
Yeah. So he takes his own life and tries to turn it into a marketing scheme.
Yeah. And like,
fucking crazy.
Yeah, to me, like, oh, excellent. And again, anyone should know this, right? 99% of really good fucking personal trainers in their first 5 to 10 years barely fucking cook. And if we do, we cook some boring shit, chicken and fucking veg, microwave probably both of them because we are too busy hustling.
Yep.
Too busy in the gym, too busy eating fucking chocolate covered rice cakes and drinking protein shakes because we're trying to get that 10,000 hours under the belt. At no point do you have the luxury of becoming a fucking chef.
No, I remember, dude, when I became a PT, which was 15 years ago, those first 3 years were the unhealthiest phase of my life. I had no sleep. I was burning the candle at both ends, and I was eating probably takeout once a day and then throwing together some bullshit bland, whatever I could. Never felt worse in my life those first 3 years. But I was also grinding, right? Training 10 people a day, which wasn't great, but it got me the experience that I needed for now. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I never once did I have time to sit down and make a fucking more than 3 ingredients. And I said, fuck that. I'm not doing it.
Yeah. And then people again with their own agenda, don't count calories because I'm selling a fucking cookbook. Like, come on, man. Don't shit on someone else's parade.
Right.
And again, it's one of those things where no PT's like, oh, I've done 50 hours of training this week. This basil coriander blend with the slow cooker. You're like, come on, bro. Who you fucking kidding? That's not you. A bit like when James Wilkes defended the Game Changers on Joe Rogan. Come on. At least make it seem like you haven't been prepped by a professional team. Because you changed your tune a lot from other media exposure. And, now we just have faces that are portraying other people's agendas. And in, I suppose, one V-Shred, one high converting fucking advert on social media to make you millions. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you couldn't get one good advert in the paper and make millions. The people were a lot more honest. But yeah, Now it's fucking,
Well, now anybody with abs is trying to make a buck, right?
yeah.
And I'm like, half these motherfuckers, if you see them in person, they look like they've never lifted weights in their life. They just take their shirt off and they happen to be skinny, right? Good for them, right? No, not going to body shame you, but I'm just going to tell you that that's not the person who you're going to want to really pay attention to in terms of giving you the blueprint. It's like, I could Photoshop myself into climbing Mount Everest, right? And I may have climbed a couple mountains in my life, nothing crazy, but I'm not going to go climb Mount Everest without someone who's done it quite a bit more than me. And if you take advice from someone who's never even gone down the process of helping other people, let alone themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A bit like Chris Hemsworth launching his fitness app. I downloaded it. He's not on it.
Of course not.
And then people like Zac Efron, right? People go, he's in such good shape. You're like, well, no, I don't disagree. He's just lean.
Yeah, he's small.
And he would have been dieted for 15 weeks before this film. And inevitably after this, he's not going to look like that.
Absolutely not.
Like you say, for any PT, they have 20 weeks out their life, social occasions, and they get a photo shoot. They get fucking 2,000 photos in a day. And then start parading. That's how they always look. I mean, if I paraded photos from being on holiday all the time, you'd probably think I lived a great fucking life. That's not how it is. You know? Mate, your tan is amazing all year round. Well, no, they're just my holiday photos, you know.
This was a 24-hour period.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that is another thing that often people get misled about, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I, as a personal decision, have decided not to, occasionally I'll show that I walk the walk, right? I mean, after all, I do, but I'm not the guy who's going to get you to buy into my philosophies by showing you my abs and my bulge, right? Like that's just not who I can't sleep at night. I don't want to show my kids like, hey, daddy all I did was walk around shirtless all day. Like that's not even my life. That's not even how it works. And I gain weight in certain periods of the year, right? That's realistic, but it's also, I think, it's the long-term play, right? It's the long-term play. It's you may not buy my fucking cookbook today because I'm not clickbaiting you, right? But 3 years from now, after you've tried everything, you're going to come back and say, you were fucking right all along, man. I'm such an idiot. Here's all my money.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
I think it is, just about relationships with people. And again, I think that's the important part, that no one should ever judge your credentials for taking your shirt off. But, and even, it's mad that your solicitor, your lawyer, your doctor, your nurse, whoever it is, you would never judge them on their physique and their ability to do their job. But in fitness, we strangely do. And I don't think everyone does need to walk the walk. There is a certain realm where it should be perfectly acceptable. And like we've both agreed, the periods in which you work and perform your best as a businessman, you do not perform your best as an athlete.
True.
And if you park your businessman athlete to the side, when you're your best husband or father, you're often not your best businessman or best athlete either.
Could not agree more. Yeah, couldn't agree more.
And that's another big elephant in the room. Oh, mate, you're looking a bit porky. Kids are fucking happy. Wife's happy. Made good money last month. Fuck off. You know what I mean?
I know. Some of my friends and I, we joke around and say, if you want to know if I'm doing well money-wise, look at my physique. If I'm a little bit fatter, the bank account's fatter, trust me.
Yeah.
Because I'm putting more time. Everybody thinks they have an unlimited supply of willpower, right? And in fact, we just don't. I had 2 little boys 18 months apart, and truth be told, there's no way in hell I can maintain a shredded physique when I'm changing diapers, sleeping 3 hours a night, helping my wife with everything, and trying to build a business at the same time. Of course, I'm not going to be able to eat my meals on time, train perfectly, and count every macro. It doesn't work. Otherwise, I'd be an awful husband, and I'd probably be divorced, right? And so, you have to understand that you might have like stop gaps where it's like, okay, I'm not going to allow myself to get this crazy, right, and start eating fuck all and hate myself. But I'm also not going to worry about landing men's health, right? That's not going to serve me right now. And so many people miss that boat. It's all or nothing,
100%.
What are you most excited about in 2020?
The book, what the book brings. I think that is one thing, being recognized as a loudmouthed, potty-mouthed Instagrammer, but maybe being an author could add some gravitas to get some more potential reach. Like, some of the fucking dimwits we have on TV in the UK. One chick went on and said, "Oh, don't eat before you train because you won't be able to burn fat." And she was like, "Instead, have a Diet Coke because it's got caffeine in it." I'm like, this is mainstream TV, and she's a dietitian. She's a fucking knob. And I was like, hopefully, off the back end of the book, I can get on there and be like, that fucking idiot. He's chatting shit. So I'd like to do that as much as I can, really. Not even from a narcissistic standpoint. I just want people to go, you helped me out with that. So 2020 moving forward, book is a big one. Just educating a lot of people. I can't wait for someone to come up to me and say, James, your book really helped me. And at the end of the day, the book's £10. So maybe like 12, 15 US dollars.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information in it for that. And I think that as a coach, I'm sure you agree, in the onset as personal training, we feel like fucking frauds. We are charging through the arse for an hour of our time. So, yeah, for me doing that, in my head, my vision board, I'd love to go on Joe Rogan.
Oh, it's amazing, man.
If I could get on that, that'd be my year made.
You're just a couple steps away by being on my show, man.
Yeah.
Well, no, there's actually some truth to that. I have friends who are best friends with him. So yeah, that'd be awesome.
I should have brought a joint and some magic mushrooms. And
I've
got my blue belt in jiu-jitsu, so I'm getting close.
There you go. You know, Joe Rogan's 52 years old.
Yeah, he's a fucking legend.
That's fucking amazing.
And some of his, he'd probably get a bit weirded out if he found out I listened to him when I fall asleep each night. But more so his guest, mate, 15-minute timer on the iPhone and a good podcast, better than Valium, diazepam, anything.
Absolutely.
I'm got now, even if I'm dating a chick, get in bed, and I'm like, so I'm about to listen to a podcast to fall asleep. And they're like, what? And I'm like, you can pick a topic. We can go Neil deGrasse Tyson, talk about space. We go Eddie Bravo, talk about flat Earth.
UFC.
Brian Cox, fancy it? You know, like I got all these lined up. And people are like, what the fuck? What's wrong with you? But and if I wake up in the middle of the night, little 15-minute timer, a little bit quiet, I'm gone.
Oh, it's beautiful, man. I got to try that actually, because I've been trying to. It's hard when you have so much going on, because his podcast episodes are really the only ones I listen to besides my friends over at Mind Pump. But they're long, man. They're like, an hour and a half, 2 hours. So it takes me like a week to get through some of them. And then I'm like, fuck, there's like 10 more in the hopper now.
You know, when it's like 9 p.m. and you're like, I want to go to bed at 10. And then you're like, because 9's too early, but 10's good. Yeah. Sometimes 9 o'clock, I'm like, well, James, 30-minute timer it is. I'm there. I never make it through. And before I know it, I wake up and I was like, fuck, I went to bed at 9 o'clock. Beautiful. So having something to go to sleep for, because your biggest concern is going to sleep at 9 that you won't fall asleep. And if you don't fall asleep with a 30-minute timer, that's good. Because you're like, I'm absorbing knowledge right now.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's like you're learning for the day. It could be reading or it could be listening to a podcast. It's the same thing.
Yeah. So
do you know Zuby? Do you know who Zuby is?
No.
Oh, okay. He's a London-based rapper. He went on Rogan. He was just on Rogan. I want to say it was a week after he went on my podcast, but he's a good friend of mine. He came to DC and he went on Rogan. You know how he got on? He just reached out to him. Simple. He was like, hey, I'm a London-based rapper. I don't know. He wrote a book on fitness too. And Rogan thought he was interesting enough. And he brought him on. Simple as that. I was like, hey, if you never ask, the answer is always no, man.
BRB.
Right. DMing Rogan now.
Yeah. I'll tweet him as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. That'd be phenomenal. When are you coming to the States, or are you coming to the States?
I've got February, I go to Oz. March, I'm in Bali for about 3 weeks. So then probably after March, I'd like to come across. I'd like to meet everyone, even if I don't end up doing podcasts. And go see Jordan Syatt in New York. Go see Brett in Diego. I'll do a round. And then the Mind Pump guys.
Yeah.
They're not far from San Diego, are they?
They're in San Jose, which is Northern California. San Diego's Southern California.
Okay, well, no further than a day's drive away. And then I'm just going to plump myself into US and get pulled in all kinds of different directions. And just,
awesome, man.
So
come
probably
to Washington, D.C. That's where I'm based out of. You can see all the monuments and Donald Trump and all the bullshit and whatever. I'll hook you up with a bunch of stuff.
I think I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to do Sniffs on tour, go around the States, like an unofficial one. And just come by and go for some beers with some people.
Beautiful, man.
That's really that's my thing. People are like, do you want to work out? I'm like, no, let's get a beer.
Who works out when you go on fucking trips, dude? That's there's too
Exactly.
much to do, man.
Exactly. So
That's awesome, dude. I appreciate you taking some time to come on the show, man.
thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. Where can people order the book and where can people connect with you?
All my socials, I'm at James Smith PT. I wish that I didn't have to have PT at the end, but being called James Smith, I unfortunately do. And there will be links across all socials to get the book, usually a link in bio. So keep it real simple. Put in the most common name in the world. If I don't come up, add PT, which is my profession. And then it's pretty straightforward from there.
That's amazing. It's funny. This morning I told my videographer, I said, hey, I'm having James Smith on the show today. He goes, that's a much less common name than your name. Because my name's Josiah. It's like, yeah, you're right. I guess never thought
When
of
I
it that
check
way.
into hotels, they're like, name? I'm like, James. They're like, surname? I'm like, Smith. And they're like,
Sure. They give you the
yeah.
wink. Like, I
Yeah, we're
remember
gonna need a credit card. We're gonna need a credit card on file, mate.
it's like those celebrities that they use their surname, right? Or they use like a fake name. I remember, I don't know if you know who Michael Vick is, former quarterback over here in the United States for whatever. He was super famous, but whenever he'd go to the doctor or hotel, his name was Ron Mexico. It's like, come on, man. Like,
My my alter ego is oh fuck, what's his name? Uh, you know Talladega Nights.
of course. Oh, Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, we got Ricky Bobby, then Cal Norton
Uh,
Jr., Mike Honcho, that's the name. Mike Honcho. So someone's
That's
like,
it's a great movie, one of the best.
he's like, hey man, I spread my ass cheeks. Playbill magazine is Mike Honcho. So if someone's like, need a spare name, I'm like, yeah, Mike Honcho.
Everybody needs a spare name. Everybody.
Amazing.
That's a life tip. Awesome, man. Well, hey, appreciate you coming on, brother. And like I said, I'm a big fan of your stuff. So keep doing what you're doing, man. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. All right.